She is the CHO or Chief Happiness Officer, founder of Happiness Jungle LLC, author, keynote speaker, humorist, entrepreneur, certified co-brand partner, speaker, coach, and mentor with Les Brown, creator, producer, and TV personality of Happiness Jungle TV show. She has been able to scale, measure, and add value by turning all her cookie crumbs into opportunities for growth and empowerment. If you have ever been around her, she is one happy person and very contagious to be around all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Lyn-Dee Eldridge.
Oh my goodness, I feel so blessed, so privileged, so honored to be here on your show with you. Sensei, you have brightened up my day. You have put the sparkle in my zen. You have just made me everything and more today. So thank you so much. The things that you've said about me, oh my goodness, I hope I can live up to it.
Wow. Thank you very much, Lyn-Dee. It's a pleasure having you on our show.
Wow. I just don't know what to say.
Lyn-Dee, you are the founder of Happiness Jungle. You are an author. You are a keynote speaker. You are a humorist. You are an entrepreneur. You are a licensed coach and certified motivational speaker from Les Brown. Tell me more about you.
Yes. You know, Sensei, life is so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're going through the most trying times, you have to appreciate everything that you go through. And I hope that if the one thing that our audience gets out of today is to realize that everything that goes on in our lives has purpose. There's a meaning. We may not know what it is. It's not our posture to start questioning it. It's just our posture and how we should go ahead and handle things that are going on in our lives. You know, 2018 is the year of the cookies in the Happiness Jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And I have come up with I've come up with a program now that's called How to Maintain a Positive, Productive Posture While Your Cookies Are Crumbling.
So it's a triple P. It's a PPP, positive, productive posture. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. And the reason that I came up with that is that in 2017, my world really flipped upside down.
Okay.
But even with everything that was going on in my life, I was able to maintain a positive, productive posture so I could continue to produce an income, so I could continue to produce a better, healthier way of living my life.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just share with you just
Sure.
a few things that happened in 2017.
Sure.
It all started when I decided to come on down to South Florida. I live in New Hampshire. I'm separated from my husband. And I decided, because I'm an empty nester, I have 4 beautiful granddaughters. I don't have to stay in New Hampshire where it's cold. Why don't I go down to South Florida, spend some time with my mother, and go ahead and reestablish myself in South Florida? I lived in South Florida for 33 years prior to living in New Hampshire. Prior to living in Florida, I was born and raised till I was 11 in New York. So when I decided to come back to South Florida, I thought that I was coming back to also expand the Happiness Jungle brand. To really network and to build my business down here in the South. Well, as life has it, as your world, you know, is going on day to day, my mother, who's 84 years old, she got very sick, and I had to become a caretaker for her. So when I became my mother's caretaker, I also had over 20 paid speaking engagements that were already scheduled for the whole East Coast that I had to cancel. Talk about your cookies starting to crumble and all of your plans of action deciding to take a completely different turn for you. Well, how do you handle those situations? You could go into a woe's me. You could go into a place where a pity party is going to start happening. But instead, I decided to turn it all around. And I decided to use everything that was happening in my life as a learning curve. And I realized when I looked up at the universe and I said, you are a funny man.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on and what is the real purpose?
Mm-hmm.
When I have to talk to the universe, I speak out to the universe. And that's what I recommend to our audience.
Mm-hmm.
If you want something bad enough and you're not understanding certain things that are going on in your life,
Mm-hmm.
just talk out loud to the universe,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a very funny thing when it starts happening.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that during the process of helping my elderly mother,
Mm-hmm.
I was now in a new learning curve of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I was figuring out another purpose of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that through this process, I need to write a book about it.
Wow. Was that your first book, or have you written a book before that?
Yes, I am an author of a book that's called Tears of Fears Behind Closed Doors.
Wow. Where did you get this title from? Where did you get this so beautiful, attractive? It's a hook. Come on, repeat that name once again. It's such a wonderful name.
Oh, Tears of Fears Behind Closed Doors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're creating anything, and I want to go out to our audience, and I want them to realize that they have great purpose. They may not even know what their purpose is right now.
Absolutely.
They may want to write a book. They may want to write a blog. They may not even know what the title is. Don't even worry about the title. Just start writing. People say to me all the time, how do I write? Once upon a time. Once upon a time, and you take it from there. So Tears of Fears Behind Closed Doors is my story of how I grew up in a very abusive home, how I married into an abusive relationship, how I got out of the abusive relationship, how I became a single mom, and how I became everything because I was in the school of hard knocks. So Tears of Fears Behind Closed Doors, you can get that on Amazon, is my story, and it has many tips of how you're able to become everything that you want to become. Nobody should have the right to steal your dreams. So don't you ever allow anybody to do that. And that's what that book was created for. When somebody said to me that I should write a book, I said, how do you write a book? They said, once upon a time. I took that, Sensei, as I guess I'm supposed to write about my personal life. And that's how the book was created. And now it's a published book. I've been able to co-author in other books. It's a blessing, whether it's business books or whether it's personal development books. It's a blessing when all of a sudden people are getting to recognize you and your passion is just coming through naturally, and other people are inviting you onto the platforms. So the first thing that I share with my audience is that if you stay in a home with four walls, nobody's going to come and knock on those walls.
Absolutely.
You need to get out. You need to make yourself known. That's exactly what I started to do. I started to go to networking events all over the world. In India, do they have a platform that's called meetup.com?
It's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
So there we go. It's all over the world. Whatever it is that you want to do, it's a free social media platform. You list your hobbies, you list your profession, you list your likes, you list your career, you list everything about you. And then after you're done putting in your profile, it allows you, after you put in the radius of where, you know, how far you're willing to go out of your comfort zone, right? How far are you willing to go? And whatever event is going on in that radius, you're notified. Now it's up to you to get dressed and walk out of your doors and go to the live events.
Absolutely.
Now you're meeting more like-minded people. You are becoming very contagious. People are starting to be very attracted to you because you're now in a place where you're meeting brand new people. Isn't that always refreshing?
Absolutely.
It's always refreshing. It always feels good when you can gather with new people, right? Because it's called new beginnings.
Exactly.
And then one thing leads to another. So sure enough, all of a sudden I started to go into the networking events, right? And when, let me come back to 2017 when I became a caretaker. I was like, my goodness, you know, it looks like I'm going to be down in South Florida a lot longer than I was anticipating being down here. And I decided to go to meetup.com and I started going to different events and I started meeting some of the most delicious people. Some of the most amazing people that had dreams. And we would sit and we would talk. They would give me ideas. I would give them ideas. And all of a sudden, there's new things that are going to evolve in your lives.
Absolutely.
So if I could give our audience a happy tip right now, is make sure that you put a profile on meetup.com. That's meet, MEET, up.com. Create your profile so you could go out there and you can meet new people and you can engage. There are so many people out in our world that are being told what they should not do.
Yeah.
They're being told that they should never talk, they should never walk, they should never ride, you should just stay the way you are. And I'm a walking testimonial to say that is not true. And I believe so are you, Sensei, aren't you?
I do 100%. I do believe that. There are a lot of people who said that I can't do a lot of things. But today I stand before you because I proved the world that I can do. Yes, I can.
That's right. So whatever you have been through, it's those that are telling you not to do it that are jealous of you. There's envy there. They don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to become better. So go find new people that want you to become better. Go find new people that wish you well.
Because John, if I could break you there, John Maxwell always says that if somebody is kicking on your back, understand that you are in front of down.
Amen. And what does our mentor Les Brown say? If you're going to fall on your back so you can look up and you can get up, right?
Absolutely.
These are very, very true statements. And, you know, in regards to Les Brown, I've been listening to Les Brown since 1986. This is the gentleman that I owe my freedom to. He came on the television, and it's in my book. He came on the television when I needed to hear what he had to say the most. And when he said that I had greatness within, I got mesmerized on that television screen, and I really felt that he was speaking with me because as that moment occurred, my abusive ex-husband walked in and just started making a lot of noise. When Les Brown was done talking, I looked at my ex-husband and I said, "We're done." I was married to this gentleman for 6 years as I'm holding a baby in my arms. And I shared with him very calmly that this marriage is done. I made the decision and I realized that it was my choice to live in this abusive relationship. And when I looked down at my sweet baby girl, I said, "But it's not yours. And therefore I must protect you."
Absolutely.
And that's what gave me the strength to leave the marriage that I always said I would never leave because I believed in the vows. So for our audience out there, there's something that gives you more strength for yourself. It's okay to be able to use that so you could be able to move ahead in life. I give you that permission to our audience all over the world to be able to leave an environment that isn't making you happy and joyful so you can become happy and joyful.
Absolutely.
Right?
And here you are taking the example of the power of words. Because Les Brown, when he came there on a TV channel, whatever it is, that was the power of his words that gave you the strength, the inner strength, which is there inside you. It's there within us. And that changed your track completely. That showed you something new light. Am I right? It gave me the power to believe that I had greatness within me. Absolutely. So I encourage everybody to get my book, Tears of Fears Behind Closed Doors, so you could understand that story. And I'm pretty sure, because 80% of our world is abused, that you will be able to relate to portions of it and hopefully give you the strength to go ahead and carry on for the rest of your life. Because we should never need people.
We should always want people in our lives. The only thing that we need is the great oxygen that God has provided for us and the water. Right? That's what we need. We need to go ahead and we need to filter ourselves. That's what we need. We should want people in our lives.
Wow.
And I think that's very important for people to understand that.
Absolutely.
And if you feel that you need somebody that badly, then you just need to dig deeper into personal development. You need to dig deeper so you could find who you are, because you've got great purpose. God didn't make any junk.
Yep. Absolutely.
He did not make junk.
Sure.
You know?
Yep.
He did not make junk. And he did not create anger. It is up to us to create peace.
It's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's a choice. So when we talk about, you know, God, a lot of people at the different points of our lives, including myself, sometimes had a disbelief with the good Lord, right? Things happen in our lives. People were dying. My grandmother, may she rest in peace, passed away of cancer. I couldn't understand, how could he have this woman who was such an angel be in such pain? I also learned that we should never question why, right? When that was happening in my life, there's a movie, and it's a comedy, but it's a movie called Oh God, with the late actor George Burns.
Okay.
That movie put such clarity about God into me. And I encourage everybody to watch it, because it's a brilliant movie. Whether it was meant to be the message or not, it gave me the message that God did not create junk, and he is not the cause of our wars. We are. He put us on this earth to be able to grow and prosper, and we're the ones that are messing it up, right?
Yep.
So when that movie came out, again, more clarity came into my life, and I realized that is so true. We are victims of ourselves. We are heroes for ourselves. We create our own happiness. So in 2017, when I became the caretaker of my mom and my world was going a little bit crazy on me, I decided that this has to have purpose. Now, my mom, she's not a very kind, happy woman. A matter of fact, she's pretty mean and miserable. People say to me all the time, how do you come from her? And I say, because I became a product of what I did not want to be. Ooh. So how many of you in our audience are a product of somebody else when that's not even what you want to be?
Absolutely.
You can change it.
Yep.
Just like you said, Sensei, you can change it. Just like I changed it. And you now, when I had a daughter, I raised her completely different than how I was raised. I brought more love into my relationship with my daughter, and I told her every single day of her great self-worth. Isn't that fabulous?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when there are people in your lives that are trying to, like I said before, make you feel littler than you should, there's a way to go ahead and discharge.
Absolutely.
There's a way to go ahead and discharge. So in 2017, I became a caretaker of my mom, and I figured out, what's the purpose? Write a book so I could help other people get through them helping their elderly family members, no matter how lovely or how mean they are. There's a process.
Absolutely.
And I had to learn the process. I had to learn how to get my mother more benefits. So I decided I should write a book. There's a purpose. The name of the book is going to be Push the Button.
Wow.
And here's why. It's the cutest little story, I think so anyway. So the reason that the book is called Push the Button is because my mom likes to cry wolf. How many people do you know that just for the sake of your attention will just start crying wolf?
Absolutely, yeah. I know a lot of them.
A lot, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of good actor and actresses out there. My mom was one of them, without a shadow of a doubt. And in order for her to get my attention or to get me back here quicker than I was supposed to get back here, my mother wears that button, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. So I would say to her, Mom, if there's something wrong with you, push the button because I will get alerted immediately. She knew that if she pushes the button, that she would end up in the emergency room, and she hates the emergency room.
Okay.
So she would not push the button unless it was really a necessity. So the name of the book is Push the Button. Let me go fast forward. I just had to put her into an assisted living, and she just did not adjust well to it. I encourage everybody to go to my Facebook page, Lyn-Dee Eldridge, and you could watch the episode of my mom transitioning into an assisted living. You could even go to my YouTube channel, Happiness Jungle. My whole brand is Happiness Jungle. So if it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or wherever, Happiness Jungle. And on the YouTube channel, there's a whole playlist called Hurricane Francis. That's my mom. Hurricane Francis, right? So as I'm trying to help her transition into a beautiful assisted living, she wasn't having any of it. She got very angry. The night that I finally moved her into an assisted living, I was exhausted. I decided, and let me just share with you, when I moved her into her assisted living, I mirrored her apartment. She had a private apartment in the assisted living. So I took some of her bedroom, her living room, her desk, and I just brought it into her new environment, and I mirrored it. So it was just like walking into her home. So I thought, she didn't like it.
Still she didn't like it. Still she didn't like it.
She was rejecting it. It did not matter. I was exhausted. And I said to her, you know what, Mom? I'm going to stay with you tonight to show you that you could walk out that door and it's a community. You're not trapped. You're not in a hospital. You're not in a nursing home. You're in a place of paradise with just people that are going to help you when you need it. It's called independent assisted living for a reason. And this is a really good place for you. I laid in her bed. I closed my eyes. You know how you could always feel somebody like looking at you or hovering over you? I opened my eyes. There's mother looking down at me, and she said, I'm going to kill you in your sleep, you no good SOB. I was like, whoa! And I appreciated the warning. I appreciated the warning. And with all craziness that's going on in this world, I looked at my mother and I said, good to know. I'll see you in the morning. And I left and I came back here to her apartment and I went to sleep. Choices, right?
Absolutely.
So the name of the book is Press the Button. And the subtitle is I'll kill you in your sleep, you no good SOB. And it's just to share with people how to help your family, your elderly transition into their next, the last chapter of their life. It brings me purpose, right?
Yep.
It brought me purpose. So let's go fast forward in 2017. Out of all of the speaking engagements that I had to cancel because I needed to make sure that my mom was okay down here. I didn't want to cancel this one that was happening in New Hampshire in September of 2017. And it was for the families in transit to keep speaking. It made a big difference for me. And because I knew all of the lives, can you imagine families in transition? How many lives can I help in that audience? I can't miss this one, Mom. I'm going to get you a mom sitter, like a babysitter.
Yep.
I'm going to get a mom sitter who's taking. So it ends up that I was able to go to New Hampshire. I was able to do the speaking engagement. I was very happy about that. And I decided while I'm in New Hampshire, because that's where my health insurance is out of, I should go for my annual checkup. I found out I had breast cancer.
And that was in 2017, last year.
Yep, this was all in 2017. Caretaker, and I found out that I had breast cancer. All because I was going for an annual checkup. There was nothing wrong with me. I looked up at the universe when the doctor said, Lyn-Dee, you have breast cancer. I looked up at the universe and I laughed. Really? This is it? What's the purpose? And I figured out I'm supposed to write a book on breast cancer so I could help other people get through their challenge with breast cancer from the second they're told that they have breast cancer. I am now cancer-free. I went through the radiation. I went through the whole thing happily with a great attitude. And every time I went for a treatment, everybody said I had such a great outlook. So much so that somebody said to me, I'm so sorry to hear that you're sick. I said, I'm sick? I am? I'm not sick. And they said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought I heard that you had breast cancer. I said, I do.
But I'm not sick.
But I'm not sick.
Yep.
And their heads go, eek. And I realized it was the power of the mindset.
Exactly correct.
I never, never for 1 second took ownership that I was sick. And not to this day do I say that I was sick. I had breast cancer and I fought it and I won. So my purpose for the breast cancer is to what?
Write a book.
Write a book. Help people through it. The last thing that happened to me in 2017 on December 21st is I got divorced. And I look at things as a learning experience. You know, if a relationship doesn't work, it doesn't work. Did I want to get a divorce? No.
No.
This was my second marriage. I loved my husband. We were with each other for over 13 years and married for 11. We were a combined family. It didn't work. And it didn't work in a way that I knew I had to let it go. It was no longer anything that could even be worked at. So I want everybody to realize that you need to try, but if you keep on trying and it doesn't work, you didn't fail. You didn't fail at it. It just didn't work. It's time to move on. And that was my philosophy. And to this day, my ex-husband and I are friends. There's no reason why you have to leave any relationship that you have with a bad taste in your mouth. It's a beautiful thing when you understand that your life and everything that happens in your life has great purpose. It brings more joy, more happiness into you when you realize that it has purpose and you could have a calmness around you. So I help people, and I've been asked to mentor people for co-parenting. So they learn how not to have their children feel like they're the victims. And how do I know how to do that? Because I was brought up in a family that was divorced, and I was used as the divorce victim, the pawn. So now I teach families, you don't do that. And I teach people how to co-parent. Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Absolutely.
And I help people, you know, life is blessings. So not only have I learned how to become a fabulous, powerful entrepreneur that gets to help other people learn how to build a good business, but now I get to speak in corporations to teach them how to have a happy environment so their bottom lines are happier. So everybody is happier. So as individuals, whether it's corporations, whether it's individuals, whether it's nonprofits, whether it's groups, conventions, I'm now asked to come and speak and share how to get through certain things of whatever it is that they want to get through. And I also allow people to know that, and I want our audience to realize that we can't be great at everything. That's why there's enough room for everybody in the world, right? There's enough room for everybody in the world because we are so uniquely built differently that we all have something to offer.
Yeah.
And each one of us have something to offer that is so unique that we get to reach out and touch different people. And there are enough people in the world that we could all make a beautiful living from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is for 2018 then in that case?
2018 is going to be a blast. 2018 is already a blast. We're already in the month of April. Can you believe it? We're in the 4th month of the year already.
Absolutely.
How fast did it go by? And I got to tell you, it's been really joyful. Everything, all of the cookies that crumbled in 2017, I have swept them up and I built one delicious mound of yumminess. So now I get to teach everybody how to maintain a positive, productive posture while your cookies are crumbling. Whether it's abuse, divorce, loss, cancer, co-parenting, business, finances. I get to mentor people all over the world because of this beautiful platform that we have here called social media, the Zoom room. And I now have clients all over the world that I get to help have a happier tomorrow.
Wow. Lyn-Dee, if I may ask you, what is one powerful question that you normally ask to one of your clients who is going through depression or abuse or divorce or loss or cancer or raising teenagers? What is that one powerful question that always comes in your heart to take them out, to find their inner self and to be happy like you? Because you are amazing, because you have gone through all these downs in your life, not the ups, but the downs, and you changed it. Because it was your choice to go up and raise above the sky. And that's exactly what you did. From your experience, what is that very specific question that you would be asking to your client?
Do you truly want to be happy? That's the first question I ask all of my clients. Do you truly want to be happy? Yes. Are you ready to step out of your comfort zone? Yes. Are you ready to maintain a positive, productive posture while your cookies are crumbling? Yes. Perfect answers. Let's go.
Wow. That was so powerful. That was so powerful. Lyn-Dee, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you in this show. I should thank you because you found time for coming this show. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Lyn-Dee Eldridge.